All right. Hello and welcome. My name is Jeremy. Welcome back to Neko Nation Japan. And today we're going to do a little book called The 7-Day Startup by Dan Norris. Now, this is a unique book. It goes through how to start a business within 7 days. Each step you have to go through along the way to get your launch really quickly, really efficiently, and just do exactly what you need in order to get your business off the ground and be able to take in money and prove whether the concept is actually going to be profitable or if it's a dog and you should take it out back, Old Yeller style. But with that being said, we're going to get right into it. I'm going to just briefly go over my goals. So one of my first goals is to be N1 certified. I've just started recently. For the last 5-6 days, I'm doing 30 to 45 minutes every morning, just sitting down and really focusing on just my Japanese study. It's helped out a bit. I've noticed a little bit more understanding and kind of working a little bit every day. Get that time in, work it every day, see that improvement. So, goal number 2, read/listen to 100 books over the course of this year. This goal is almost attained. I'm currently up to 81 audiobooks I've read and 3 or 4 hard copy books I've read. I get a lot more time and a lot more done when I'm listening to the audiobooks. Allows me to do something else, maybe run, jog, work out, whatever the case may be. That's easily obtainable. I'm going to meet and exceed that goal pretty much shortly, yeah. But goal number 3. So goal number 3 moves right in my exercise routine, get and keep in shape. Unfortunately, the friend of mine I used to run with moved away, but I haven't done Thursdays. It's usually whenever I have any time. So I've been going out running. I've been just kind of keeping in shape. Karate still, and just a few running now and then. I really got to up the game in that a little bit to get better gains quicker, Number 4, get 100 million in SNS followers. Now, nowhere near this goal, but slowly increasing. I would say probably between 10 and 20 a month. Now, that seems awfully slow to me, but it's slowly compounding, and I've released a new the Roth investments dividend portfolio I had on this channel, and it's getting a little bit interesting. I think if I keep at it and keep showing you more and more videos, I should have another video out soon. I think that'll pick up and show some interesting stuff on this channel. Goal number 5, get and run multiple businesses without my input. That is nowhere on that goal as of yet. I'm trying to build this business, but obviously it needs my input right now. I have a few other real estate things I'm looking into. I may have an opportunity in the near future for that, and I'd love to cover that in this channel. All right, number 6, make $1 million US a month. Suffice to say, I'm pretty low on that. I'm actually surprised to see how much. So I probably make maybe $100 or so right now in dividends each month. I'm surprised to see how much I get from that, my current dividend portfolio. It's a little better, so a little difference between 100 and a million, but we're getting there slowly, and I'm definitely using the whole compounding interest. Such a powerful force. I can't wait to see how fast that goes. My number 7, own 1,000 rental units that are, rented and owned and paying me cash flow every month. Now, I'm looking into a real estate acquisition. It's going to be expensive, and probably every dollar I have, but this particular property is a multi-unit property. There's 9 units in this. I really want to take a look at it. I'm just doing the first stages and contacting them to see if we can go and look at it. I want to see and ask them if I can video and tape it, and so I can show you here what I'm looking into buying. So 8, teach 100 students and have those students teach somebody else. So this is in my English teaching, as well as here on YouTube, I want to try to get at least 100 mentees, right? Somebody I've mentored, somebody I talked to, and said, well, while I'm still, in my case, I need to find a mentor, but I want to get to the point where, I know how to do this, so I tell somebody else and instruct them on how to do it with at least 100 students, and then they teach somebody else to really improve and magnify my efforts going forward. So with that, we are going to get right into it. We have 30 minutes to go over 7-day startup starting now. The 7-Day Startup by Dan Norris is a book that's specifically on how to create, run, and maintain a business within this 7-day period, and just to get it off the ground and test the market and see, okay, do they actually want this? Testing your market, checking if the particular foray you're going in. Usually they talk about different kind of tech fields like websites, different products and services around the internet, and certain things that you can put out there, maybe monthly prescription, maybe monthly subscription fees and that kind of thing, to show exactly. The 7-Day Startup by Dan Norris. First, you really need to spend the time on what's going to bring you customers. All the time you have for these 7 days is going to be focused on the key tasks and the key principles that are going to get your product, your service out there up and running, and how to bring the people in order to get the money for that service or product if you bring the value or enough value to the market. You really want to be considered an entrepreneur. You need to ship your product, whether that's product or service. You need to get it out there and do it now, immediately, as quick as possible. And we're going to do the key things that you need, the minimal set over these 7 days to get it in and out there. And in this book, they really emphasize the point. You need to build a business to test the market. You can do these little tests here and there and all that. They might give you a clue, but in the end of the day, you don't know if just putting your email out there, say, sign up for this email, people are interested or not, until you get them to pay for it. You won't gauge the interest until you can get people and actually pay and shell over their hard-earned money in order to see whether this product or service is going to be a viable business. So one of the key principles that after launch is, can you get more people to pay for this product or service? Can you get people that you don't know to pay for this product and service? Then you may actually have something. You may be able to say, okay, we're getting more and more, making more revenue, getting in higher and higher brackets, and more people, word of mouth is spreading, your marketing, all that stuff. Then you might have yourself a nice business. In this particular part, he really emphasized there's a big difference between somebody just typing in their email and saying, I'm interested in your product, than to actually shell out money maybe every month or just one particular purchase of the product. They really like the monthly subscription business model in this book here, in the 7 days. It's definitely interesting business model. You get recurring revenue. Usually it's a service that you would provide. They go through a few different startups, ideas or products, this or that, but he didn't really know anything product. So he particularly made a developer suite and like a little analyst toolbar. He did usually digital products. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you really need to be passionate about growing this business. Maybe you're not passionate about the product, maybe you're not passionate about the service as much, maybe you're passionate about what you want to do with that money, but you need to find and drive that passion in order to be able to say, okay, I'm going to grow this business from the first 7 days to the first 7 years, to the first 70 years, that kind of thing. A really nice thing is to solve problems that people are already paying for. So if you know they're buying this service in order to solve this problem or help alleviate the pain or maybe get a little more pleasure out of this particular problem, then you might have a good niche that you can get into. So if they're already paying for a service and you offer a service that's better or equal for, easier, friendlier, whatever the case may be, then they'll say, okay, we're going to go with you. And they'll end up paying you monthly, quarterly, however you want to do your business cycle. He really hypes in this push. You don't learn anything whatsoever until you get out there and you launch that business. So if you launch it and it doesn't really all that great, you just got a great product, there may be something All right, maybe it's your marketing, maybe it's your advertising, maybe it's the product itself is just not great and maybe it's hard to use, or maybe it's the service industry and nobody's really interested in this service industry. If you keep it to 7 days, you launch it and maybe give it a month or two, you'll know to cut it, over and done with, and move on to something else. Maybe find that product. So with this, you really get these 7 days. You get that iteration out there. Maybe give it a couple months. See how the market takes it. If it starts to get traction, take off, great. If it doesn't, that's it. You cut it off. You quit spending money on it, and you move on to something else. And then you find yourself another 7-day project that you can get out there and do, and just hammer it, hammer it, hammer it. Eric Ries defines a startup as an institution that gives you a new product or a new service under conditions of extreme uncertainty. So when you get a startup, you get something new into the market, you get a new service into the market. And for it to be considered a startup, nobody knows whether this is going to work or not, right? So you never know. And that's why you have this, every roll of the dice, right? If you do the right things, you may do great. If you do the right things, you still may not do that great. You may be big flop. You never know. That's why you got to keep everything short and to the point. And you really hire up on hustle. What is hustle, you say? Hustle is really, especially in an early startup, the minimum thing you need to do to get out there and get people to pay you for your service or your product. You've got to do that as much as you can, all the time. Get out there and do it. And really this hustle allows you to make money, grow your business as much as possible. Dan Norris goes over 9 elements of bootstrapping that is kind of critical and very instrumental in any particular bootstrapping business or entrepreneurship. Number 1, you want to enjoy the daily tasks of this little business, your startup, right? Have enjoyable. If you like it, you're more likely to do it. If you like it, you do it. Guess what? You're probably going to get some money for it. All right. Number 2. So the product or founder fit. If the product doesn't really fit well with the founder, or if the founder doesn't fit well with the product, if there's some mismatch there, if there's particular skills that are lacking, probably not going to do. But if it's a good fit, good product, good company, you get that. So number 2 is good. Number 3, very important, a scalable business model. If it all depends on you, the entrepreneur, how is that scalable? You need to be able to step back and have people to fill into these positions, and then you can step out of the business and say, okay, this business is doing great. I'm going to step out, maybe start something else, maybe take a break, maybe go on a vacation, whatever the case may be. You need to have a scalable business model that allows you to step out of that business model. That comes to our number 4, operates properly without the founder. So if everything's on you, you have kind of a specialist. If you're like a particular doctor practice or what have you, if you are there and that business cannot grow without you being there, that's not a business. You have yourself a big job. Number 5, you want to grow this particular business large enough and enough like tasks that provide assets and large assets for this particular company, that it gets big enough that you could actually sell it if you wanted to. Now, personally, I don't think if it's a good business and it's running well and you like it, keep it. If you could step out and be like, I'll take a break off for a little while, see how it grows, come back, it's growing bigger, keep that business. That right there could be a key to big things in the future. Next one, we have large market potential. Whether that's that particular niche you're going for, is you can have a lot of money in that particular niche. Whatever the case may be, you want to have a large market potential. Whether that can be going to everybody in the market, but then that's kind of a whole other issue. You want to go find a particular area and you want large market potential. All right, next one on the list. This one's a little interesting. Tap into pain or pleasure differentiation or differentiators. So you want to be able to relieve somebody's pain they're having in their business or in their daily life or somewhere. You want to relieve pain, or we want to simultaneously give them pleasure for it. Or if you can do both, you can relieve that pain and give them pleasure for something that they need to do. it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. Then you're going to have a good bootstrap startup going on. So this one's a little tricky. You want to have unique lead advantages. So unique way of attracting customers and people to come and look at your products or your service. Whether that's on social media, whether that's word of mouth, whether that's crazy stunts you pull, whatever the case may be. I want to have unique, somewhat unique, and say, oh, that's kind of cool. That we should take a look, see what he's doing, right? And our last one, our ninth element, is the ability to quick launch. You should be able to do almost all of this within 7 days. Now that may seem very unreasonable, but I think through reading this book, you'll find it's actually quite feasible. And what they tell you to do, you cut it down, you cut it to the bare minimum. You don't automate almost anything. You do it all manually and say, oh, okay, this, done, go. Next. You go right down through the list that I'll show you at the end of the video. All 9 elements of bootstrapping a business. Now, we're getting into a few more little quotes, and then I'll go through the list of what you're going to do on each day. Now, specifically with this type of the 7-day, you're going so short term. You want to get it right off the ground. He really talks a lot about, Dan, that is, if you focus on the short term in order to just get your business off the ground, it is good, but you really don't build and create an asset if you don't find this that'll give you a value over the long haul, right? You need to increase the profitability for a long time and really make this business into an asset. Otherwise, there's no way you can sell it or keep it for any particular length of time. You may get through the first year or so, but after that, then what? You're just constantly churning out the same things. The market's going to lose interest, and then it's over and done with. You want to solve a problem that somebody is already trying to pay or looking to pay money to solve. If that's the case, you're going to find it much easier to get into the market, and then obviously much quicker because it's something they're already paying for. You would do it better, you do it cheaper, you do it faster, more quality. You're more likely to then get that money that was reserved to solve that problem. A couple more things. He really harps on, if you're working on this company for more than 5 years or so, what do you have in the end? If it's not running well, if it's not proceeding, if it doesn't run profitable, what do you have? Pretty much nothing. I always watch Shark Tank, and they always say 2 times earnings. Some people come on there, they've been doing this for years, but it hasn't earned them a dime. You have a hobby at that point. If you want this for a hobby, hey, that's great. You know you got to put in money for it. But it's not a business that you can go out there and sell. The questions you need to ask yourself about this particular product and be able to answer almost off the fly. So how can you offer a product or a service to a real customer? A customer group, a customer set, or specific individuals? How can you do this? Whether it's online, physical locations, how are you going to do this? And what are you going to do? All right, next question. How will you get them to pay for this product after the 7 days? So is that reoccurring monthly billing? Is that upfront cost PayPal? How are you going to get their money? And the shorter you can do that, the faster time, the better off your business is going to be. Very important question. How close will this product or service, your MVP, be to its final version? A lot of the times you say, oh, I can't launch until it's perfect product. You will never launch if that's the case. So you do your 7 days, you cut out all the extras, you do down to the core. This is what it's going to be. Figure out exactly what we can do and what we can charge for that. And say, okay, we're thinking about putting in these options. What do you think? They're already paying for that. Say, I like this. Maybe that's something to include. Next, very important, what can you do manually? So your help desk, your emails, your all that stuff. What can you do manually in the beginning over these 7 days just to get it done? Not have to automate it, not have to pay for that automation. Minimum amount of money, and you want to do maximum amount of effort over these 7 days. So you do almost everything manually, which is, this book constantly says, is pretty much you can do everything manually. It allows for everything you could just about do manually, or have a little bit of software to cover this little thing that needs to get done, right? Another very important, what can you do yourself without delegating it? If you can do the maximum amount you can for you, and you take any one of your employees, your partners, whatever the case may be, and have them focus on their strength, just kind of magnifies that amount of effort and get your business off the ground as quick as possible. Last one, how can you make your offer as real as possible to your end user or your customer? So, get as much done as you can over these 7 days and really cut it down to the minimum, but you're going to bust your butt over these 7 days. Very little sleep, he talks about, but do as much as you can, get it done, do it to it. Really interesting, how do you choose the name for this business? You're creating this new business, this new product. How do you make the name? So first, a few questions you got to ask yourself in making up this new product or this new company's name. Is the name taken? Number one. Obviously, if it's taken, you don't want to use it. Number two, is it simple? Is it simple to say, simple to read, and simple to understand? Number three, is it easy to say out loud? Can just about anybody from multiple languages say this easy phrase or this easy word, right? Next one, do you like it? Do you even like the word? Do you like the name? Like any of it? Does it make sense for your ideas? So, if you're going into, say, computer development, you don't want to say Gary's Construction. They don't really match, right? Does the name make sense that you're going to call it? A really interesting fact, the top 25 brands have names that are pretty short. They're 12 characters or less. Keep that in mind when you're thinking, shorter the better. Also, broader is better. So you don't want to, when you're making this name, you're doing these 7 days, you don't really know what the final product is going to look like, or is going to be for that matter. You have a general idea of scaffolding, what you're beginning with, but what you begin with and what you end up are going to be two completely different things, right? So a little bit broader is kind of a better case here. Next are very important 10 different ways to market your business. 10 little structures, and then we're going to get right into our final thing. One, create content on your site. Promote it yourself. Easiest, cheapest, best way to do it. You know exactly what you need to say. Start sending out emails. Get an email list going. Send it to publications, whatever. Get the word out, right? Next, podcasting. Talk about it. Talk about it with your friends. Talk about it with other interviewees. Talk about what's going on in your business. Forums and online groups. If you're doing a product to help with a particular problem, maybe go to a forum that addresses that problem. Say, oh, I have this service that would help out you quite a bit. Here it is. I found this. Try it out. Guest blogging. Talk about it. Type about it. Be a guest blogger in somebody else's big blog. Say you may have to pay for that service, you may not, but you could probably work something out that'll get you right in that door. Listing sites. Go ahead and get your name, your company name up there on maybe top 10 real estate agent, whatever the case may be. Get your name out there and listed on that list. This one I kind of like, webinars. So you can create this little webinar, kind of like the YouTube, posting a nice video for YouTube, except you're doing a webinar for a specific topic, specific to be as much value as you can to your customer base. And say, oh, maybe at the end you have this offer to give them. All right, next one, presenting. Again, you get out in front of it, you present, this is your product, this is it, your practice, you do it over and over, you tape it, maybe you push to YouTube, push to Twitter, all kinds of different things. Present your product or service. This one, I find not many people do. Doing free work. Get out there and do something free for somebody else in order to get your brand maybe to the forefront. I say, I volunteered here. Is there any way you can kind of have me advertise or do something for them, and maybe they'll give you something in return? Reciprocity. All right, last one, media coverage. I don't really recommend this as much, but if you're doing something grand, maybe they're going to cover you free. You shouldn't have to go and pay a PR firm to say get it out there. You don't have a product, you don't have it designed as of yet, so you really shouldn't have it until you're $1 million companies to be able to pay a PR firm. You don't need any of that. All right, I got less than a minute left to our 30 minutes are up, and then I really need to go through that last 7 days with you. By comparing yourself to the best in your particular industry, you start to move your standards higher and higher, and you start to reach farther and farther and improve yourself more and more, right? This is really a key to this 7-day startup process. Momentum is very powerful. If you start to get momentum, you don't really want to ease up on it. You want to work harder and harder and faster and use that momentum to your advantage to get your product and service out there. All right, that is our 30-minute mark, meaning we got to wrap it up. So I got to get this done quickly. All right, really, your own personal motivation and happiness is number one. And then if you can create a business around it, that'd be awesome. Really, key important thing, no amount of money is worth dealing with difficult clients. It's not worth it. Trust me. Good. We are on our last 7 days. All right. Day one, you're going to get out there and you're going to sit down and maybe with your group or your business, brainstorm. What are some great products? You're going to put them on a checklist. Say, I think we should make this product. I think we should do this service. I think we should do this. Come up with a group, maybe 5 to 10, and then sit down with it. Okay, are we best suited to do these? What is our competencies? What do we have going? Can we do it? Yes or no? Narrow down that list till you find number one. Then we move on to day number two. Day number two, you want to sit down and figure out exactly what will you be launching on day 7. What will it look like? What features will it have? What features will it not have? You're going to push it aside maybe for later. What can you do manually? What can you do automate? What are you going to do manually? What are you going to automate? Automation could be left for after the 7 days. When we get this product up and running and prove it's something to go forward with. Day number 3, come up with the best list of names. Evaluate them against the list of things you're actually going to do and see which one makes sense the most, and then go out into the web and buy your domain for that particular name. So whether that's Amazon.com or whatever the case, you want that the best URL and domain you can get. Usually it's a .com. It's usually the best you can do. There's a lot of other ones out there, but try to go for yourself a .com in the name of your company and business. I want to see you on day 4 build out your website. You should have figured out what you're going to do. You're going to do a splash page. You're going to do build out your website. It shouldn't really take much more than a day if you got everybody focused in on doing it. What's your product going to be, what you're offering, and how you're going to offer it. And you can even work out the payment later. In this particular example they give in the book, they say they waited till the end of the month to figure out the payment plan because it's a monthly business cycle. You could focus on the core of the business first. End of the month, okay, this is how we're going to do the payment. Usually PayPal is the best anyway. Day number 5, marketing. You want to learn exactly and write down, figure exactly what your marketing scheme is going to be. What services, what you're going to do, social media, what have you. Whether it's mailing, emailing, letters. Don't recommend letters, they get through. But mailing out flyers, handing out flyers, whatever you're going to do, that marketing needs to be nailed down. For day number 5, the marketing needs to be nailed down. Next, day number 6, getting close. All right, day number 6, create a spreadsheet for the particular company. Figure out exactly what your revenue needs to be, what your losses are, everything. It's how many customers you need in order to get to the point of profitability. How many customers you have, all this. You want to make this spreadsheet easy and just already have it prepared. Now, on day 7, you're going to execute and kind of establish your marketing plan. This marketing plan we already figured out a couple days ago should be initiated on day 7. This is the time for everything. You can worry about some of the other little things later, but these are the 7 things you need to focus on. Well, let's just say get yourself off the ground and get yourself in gear. All right, with that, thank you very much for coming. My name is Jeremy from Neko Nation Japan, and I hope to see you again. With that, sayonara.